Hey guys, what's up? It's Chris, and today we're going to go through the 2012. You're probably looking for the 2013 right now, Northbound AT guide. I know you have, or you've been looking at the companion guides and the data books, but those are inferior to what this book is now. I don't know how many people I've had along the trail with other people are like, hey, can I look at your book? Can I look at your book? I heard about this book. I have this data book and I have this companion book. Well, the companion book doesn't give you what looks like a heartbeat of the mountains and the way all the terrain goes. It only gives you stats and data with a data book. And the companion guide goes along with that, so you have to be looking into two different books to be like, okay, I'm at this mile, so I need to look up this mile in the companion guide. And so this is all consolidated. It's all right here in front of you. Everyone that I know that was on the trail, after I don't know how many miles, after seeing this book, switched or would stick with a group for a couple of days because they didn't have the book, they wanted the book, and really liked everything that was in it, because this gives you up-to-date mile per mile stats on where you're at compared to the mountain, and you can look and you can visualize it. But the data book just doesn't do that. So we've ran into people where they're like, oh, good, you have one of these books. Can I look at it? We don't know how far we need to go. This is only giving us this, and it's not really giving you landmarks or really detailed amounts of information for you to psychologically know where to do what. So this is a really, really, really good. Anybody looking for the companion or the data book, nix that. It's only $15. This is $15 online. You can buy it. You will find it at Outfitters along the trail. But they also sell a PDF file on their site. It's theatguide.com. So you can do that, or you can Google it. So here's a real close-up, and we're going to go through this, and I'll show you that it gives you where towns are, state roads, interstates, paved roads, access roads, shuttles, people who shuttle people back and forth to towns and back and forth to the trail, trail angels. It gives you full in-depth maps of what a town, a significant town that you're going to go into, looks like. It has the roads and the maps and everything, where the AT comes out into the town. Things like that. This is the best $15 that you will spend in your entire gear. So, sorry if you didn't buy this before you bought the data books or the companion books, but I hands down guarantee you that you will have one of these books in your hand by the time you're 200 miles in. So we're going to go over this. I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to start opening this up. The first town I'm going to go through, because this is what popped up when I opened it earlier, is Damascus, Virginia. And if you know anything about the AT, this is where they have trail days, and it's a festival for people that are on the trail. Some people go back and forth and, hitchhike back and forth. Depends on when you go. I don't know when Trail Days is this year, but I'll show you right here what everything is and give you an example of what is in this book with the town of Damascus, and this will follow with other towns. So stick with me. We'll zoom in and we'll go over what's in here. Okay guys, we're going to go over Damascus, Virginia. That is where Trail Days is. Okay, so the AT will come into town right around here, loops around, then you get into town. Okay, this is how detailed these maps are. These maps have places to eat, places to stay, small inns. In Damascus, there's just a lot of bed and breakfast type things at Trail Angels, along those ways. Laundromats, the post office, there's at least 3 outfitters there, and you should be able to have everything you need there. They say by the time you get to Damascus, you finally have your trail eggs. I believe that's roughly just under 500 miles in. So, anyway, this is what it shows. It shows, you know, interstates, roads that go into it. It's a pretty isolated town. It really is. The closest town to that is Arrington or Marion, Virginia. So if you're going to end up taking a Greyhound bus in there or something along those lines, you need to plan accordingly with having to take a taxi, unless it's around some of the really big hitchhiking times. So, well, let me zoom in a little bit for you. So that should give you a pretty decent idea of what these towns are marked out as. They are very detailed, and then right over here, I'll slide this over, and next to it you get a full list of shuttles, places to stay, phone numbers of each one of these places, places to eat, you know, if you need to order something for food or somewhere along those lines while you're in that town. If you need to go to the post office, you can find out the hours. Just all that information is right here on 2 pages, and usually maybe extended depending on what's going on. So here is what's after Damascus. And this is a really good detailed what the heartbeat I was talking about means. It goes along for each page. So we'll delve down deeper into that real quick here in a minute, and stick with me. Okay, so we're going to go over this heartbeat or this mountain train and what's going on here. Alright, along here it's going to have your mileage. It also has a southbound and a northbound mileage. Okay, so I think leaving Damascus, leaving Damascus was my biggest day hiking, and it was a 28-mile day, and I believe it's Thomas Knobs Shelter is one of the first shelters you run by. There's a few campsites that you run by, but the first information it gives you is Thomas Knobs Shelter. That's at mile 494.9, so mile 9 or 450. So it also gives you how far you went from, you know, if you're looking at stats and whatever, and it gives you your elevation, it gives you your water sources, what kind of water sources are there, if there's a view, camera, moon, you know, sky and all that stuff. Gives you that kind of information all along the whole book. But Thomas Knobs Shelter was definitely one of the best shelters I think I've ever stayed at, and Mount Rogers was, out of the whole Grayson Highlands, was just absolutely amazing. So that was at day 42. I made a note. But I encourage anybody to, there's a lot of space in here, a lot of space in between. Okay, make notes. So we're at Mount Rogers, And at the beginning of the day, you know that you're going to be descending for a good portion of the day. And you can look at the mileage up here and know where you're at. Each place along the way isn't exactly a shelter. It could be a road. It could be a water source. It could be a view. Each, as you go, it's a heartbeat of the mountain. And knowing the people that I ran into that could have been here and thought maybe they were here or here or here, looking at the data books and the companion books, that's why they wanted to look at our stuff. They'd be like, oh no, dude, you're right here. They'd be like, oh my God, we have so far to go. We need to start figuring out what we're going to do. Because, you know, some people aren't going to be able to make it 20-mile days or 15-mile days or 10-mile days. It just depends on the person. So as you go along, it goes and goes and goes. Flip this to the next page. And it starts all the way back over again. You know, like some of these places, I have you know, a Sharpie or somewhere where you circle, start making marks, or your own little key, so you can look at your book and know where you need to go for that day or something, and make a little mark. And then that way you don't have to look through your whole book, because sometimes that gets confusing looking at all these little marks and stuff and that you've made. So it might get confusing, and you just have to learn how to look at it. So you look at it the long way, and then you switch it and be like, okay, we're here. Okay, we got about, you know, 2 miles to water, and then you can figure out, you know, how many miles per hour you walk and how long it's going to take you before you get to water. You know, this year, I don't know about other years, but said this was one of the lowest years for water. I don't know about that, but sure, it was hard sometimes, and you're gonna have to, it gives you, even once you get to a shelter. So let's say, you know, one of these shelters. So right here, somewhere along the way, it'll, right along that line, it'll tell you how far from the shelter your water source is going to be. And you're going to have to walk sometimes 0.2, 0.3 just to get water. It could be down a hill, up a hill, or vice versa. But either way, you're still doing almost a half mile more once you get to the shelter just to get water. And you are lucky if you get to a shelter and you don't have to go very far for water. It becomes commonplace to have to walk to get water. Make sure you know, one of the biggest things some people have to do is walk twice to get to water in an evening when you've already done, you know, 15 to 20 miles that day. It's a real pain in the ass. But as you can see, I have different sections. If you saw one of my other videos, I've made notes, little things along the way. Some people will just trash their stuff and get rid of it every day and throw out a page every day. You know, the weight adds up. It does add up. This could weigh, you know, a half a pound. But this is the AT guide for anybody that is looking for a guide this 2013. This is the guide that you will want. I hope this video has been informative and helps you out on deciding what kind of guide you need to get, or, you know, whatever you decide to do. But this will help you out more than anything. Everyone in your group should have one of these. You get disconnected from somebody,